businesses, families, even disabled kids. But tonight, it all comes crashing down.
Hey, John, why are you running, mate?
The number of people that he's ripped off is limitless.
Crash tackling the boss from hell.
I want to ask you some questions about your business dealings.
Anyone that he owed money to, they just kept ringing. He just wouldn't answer the call.
John Elvey is a serial defaulter who runs away from his debts.
Hey, mate, you got my money there?
I know it's not a nice thing to say, but man, it's a wonder that people haven't attacked him.
John Elvey's a man who's very good at talking the talk to get some cash, but when it comes to walking the walk and paying people back, he bolts the other way. A Current Affair has been contacted by many alleged victims who all say that John Elvey keeps promising to pay them and then disappears. Their hunt for that missing cash ended up here.
What about your staff, John? You haven't paid them for months. Have I not? No. What about St John's ambulance that you gave that money to? That bounced.
Hey, John.
It doesn't matter whether you work for him or you're a contractor or you're a friend or a relative, he'll rip you off. He just rips off everyone.
John, you owe a lot of people money. Are you going to face
back off?
Mark Ellis is a former policeman turned security guard who was hired by John Elvey to work at an extravagant New Year's Eve party at John's house.
What's that? Would you like to go to the police and get it?
Very eloquent, very friendly, very upfront, full of confidence, and a person who sounded very trustworthy. Anyone who went to that party could be forgiven to think that John was a high flyer.
The next morning, John Elvey had a massive hangover and a security bill for $2,500. But despite Mark sending emails, Facebook messages and text messages for months asking for the money, John Elvey still hasn't paid all that he owes.
It just seems to be he doesn't pay anyone, and those people that he does pay, he backdates the cheque or he withdraws the payment.
At the same party, John Elvey also handed over a cheque for $500 to St John Ambulance.
He actually presented the cheque on stage in front of everyone at his New Year's Eve party, and the next day he cancelled it.
Karen Cross is John Elvey's former sales manager. She's chasing her old boss for $6,500 in unpaid wages, but says John Elvey is telling everyone she's a liar.
I don't know how to string words together. He does, and he always sounds convincing.
Karen witnessed John Elvey's deceitful ways on a daily basis. Her brother, who was also employed by John, took this photo of him drinking a can of Canadian Club whiskey while driving back from work.
Anyone that he owed money to, they just kept ringing. He just wouldn't answer the call. He would just ignore them.
Karen says John Elvey also ripped off a disabled teenage boy working for his company, paying him just $50 for more than a month's work.
What about the money you owe, John?
Court documents show John Elvey has a history of defaulting on his debts. In 2007, he was ordered to pay more than $287,000 to Lenders Permanent Custodians Limited. In 2008, a warrant was granted to company MKM Capital to seize John Elvey's house and force him to pay them $343,000. John was also forced to pay another $93,000 to Crown and Gleeson Lending, while in 2009 he was ordered to pay another $98,000 to a Margaret Campbell.
If he does this to one person, he'll do this to another.
Damien Tomato is another tradesman who carried out work for John Elvey but says his invoices were never paid. When he asked for his money, he says John physically attacked him and left him with a small scar on his neck.
Minister just came in, grabbed me and just forced me back.
The first time we tried to chat to John Elvey, he makes a hasty getaway, speeding off in his ute. But the second time, he has no getaway vehicle.
Hello, John. Tim Harvey from A Current Affair. How are you going?
And he quickly makes a run for it.
Running away from your wife, John!
As he flees, a passerby mistakes John for a shoplifter and tackles him.
Hey, leave him alone. Leave him out.
Elvey falls over again as Mark grabs a folder containing John's financial dealings.
Settle down there. Settle down. Settle down.
But John Elvey is desperate to stop anyone reading how much he owes.
You over?
And he wasn't giving Mark, A Current Affair, or any of his other victims any answers.
Quite often these people are chameleon-like. They hide in the community and they appear to be really nice people, but in fact they're predators.
Lawyer Bill Potts says conmen like John Elvey are the most dangerous because of their ability to make people believe their lies.
And they see themselves as effectively being always right, and they have absolutely no pity or sympathy for their victims.
John has made national headlines before, defending his decision to allow his 8-year-old son to sport a rat's tail haircut to school, despite it landing the Year 3 student in detention instead of the classroom.
It's not as if it was like tattoos all over him or anything. He's a nice, presentable kid, well-mannered, doesn't affect his schooling, and it's staying.
While that decision only affected his family, Karen says John Elvey's current behaviour is doing way more damage.
He's telling everyone that he sacked me. He didn't sack me. I walked away because I'd had enough of not being paid. I'd had enough of being used.